Welcome, beloved souls. I'm happy to be back. It's been a minute, hasn't it? So much has happened in our world since I last recorded a video, and here I am recording again. If you're new to my channel, my name is Vivia. I'm a Western tropical astrologer. I love using astrology to help us live our best lives, navigate chaos, and make the best of this ever-changing world. So if you're into that, you've found the right place. Please hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment. I would love to read your comment. Please leave me comments. Those of you still with me, thank you so much for sticking with me. And today I'm going to be talking about the Taurus, the full moon in Taurus. It happens on Wednesday, November 5th at 5:19 a.m. Pacific time. So you'll have to adjust for your own time zone. Remember that a lunation, a full moon lunation, is always when the sun opposes the moon in a chart. And you can see that here. 13 degrees and 22 minutes of Taurus is where the moon is at. And directly opposing it is the sun at 13 degrees and 22 minutes of Scorpio. Now, this lunation is a super moon lunation. The moon is closer to the Earth in its orbit. And as a result of this, it appears bigger and brighter in our sky. But that much more closeness can have a greater pull on the tectonic plates, on the oceans, on nature. In the general scheme of things, it actually might cause more upheavals in terms of any type of oceanic events. It could cause disruptions or things coming to light. Remember that the full moon is an illumination. The moon is being illuminated. So in the mundane world, we might see things to do with the ocean and shipping. Those might come to light, as well as any water events, right? Especially since Neptune is at 29 degrees, the anaretic degree it's called. And it's a degree, it's a crisis point. It's a hard point. It's a hard energy to hold. And Neptune governs that sea, that the oceanic realms, both of the mundane world, but within ourselves as well. And even though the moon is not necessarily making a direct aspect with this Neptune, at the time of the full moon lunation, it will move into a sextile to it in the day after. And that is also too like what Neptune represents, this disruption of anything in the ocean, any water, and any disasters, any water-related disasters, which we are seeing a lot of right now on the earth. But in general, in our own lives, that pulling of this moon being so much closer is going to be on our own psyches, perhaps even our own bodies. It does depend on where it lands in your chart, and I will briefly break them down for all of the signs. But it's just going to illuminate things in a grander way for all of us than a normal moon would. This full moon, wherever it's happening in your chart, is the culmination of a seed that was planted in your life back in April. It would have been April 27 of this year, 2025, and the new moon was at 7 degrees and 47 minutes of Taurus. So now, half a year later, it's coming into its fruition and its culmination point. So the full moon can represent a culmination or completion phase of something that you have been working on. And it could be, again, something seeded, started, imagined back in April of this year. And so whatever was initiated in that time could be coming to its full peak point. So now the moon also is exalted in Taurus, meaning that it is in its place of all exaltation. It operates really well. So it's full and it has the attributes here of, so this Taurus moon we're really able to stay embodied. There's more energy for helping us to stay embodied, stay grounded, and act out of practicality. And whatever it is that we're doing to build with that steadfastness that Taurus brings us. And this is going to be very welcomed because at the time of the full moon, the ruler of the sun here is Mars in Sagittarius. which can be a very robust and fiery, energetic energy, which Mars likes. And it's in opposition here. Mars is in opposition here to Uranus at 0 degrees retrograde of Gemini. So this tends to be quite an unexpected, chaotic, maybe even forceful energy. Remember that Mars is our action planet. It helps us be courageous, but it's also the planet of conflict and of war. Uranus is a planet that is about unexpectedness. It can be about innovation and change. It can be very sudden acting. And the two of them in this opposition with one another can be really unexpected, chaotic turnarounds and changes. It might even be very confrontational because it's so close here too to Mercury. It's important for us to watch what we say, watch what we're putting out into the world, even in our thoughts and even in the thought realm, not just the words that we're speaking, but very important to just use this groundedness, this practicality, this patience. Taurus is very patient. The patience and calmness of Taurus, to really think about our actions and our words before putting them out into the world, because this is really disruptive energy here. And there is a risk here of this added impulsiveness that might lead to regret later on. So do keep that in mind. So this lunation is happening on the Scorpio Taurus axis, which is all about resources, your own resources, other people's resources. It's about the financial realm. Taurus rules over the resources pertaining to the earth, to wealth, food supply, and Scorpio is resources as well. It's generally, when in a flat natural chart, it rules over the 8th house. And that is considered other people's resources, not just their money, but anything that they bring to the table. Scorpio is also about, this axis is also about the life and death axis. Taurus being the life-sustaining, nurturing earth, and Scorpio being the death and rebirth, regeneration axis. So this gives us lots of insight here into our own regeneration and what we want to bring forth in our own lives in terms of our own resources and resourcefulness, and also values and our self-worth, because that is Taurus as well. At the time of the full moon, Venus is here in Libra in her domicile, so she's strong, she's very, and that is the ruler here of this moon in Taurus. So this is very a nice omen, and it does portend well for the actual lunation and for the cycle that we're in, and for the cycle that, for the next 2 weeks, certainly, even 1 month, or even a few months out. It just depends on how, I find it just is how connected you are to this moon. If this full moon is aspecting any of your points, if you have anything here in Taurus or Scorpio within 3 to 5 degrees, especially if it's conjunct, obviously it's going to be at the same degree within 1 degree. That's going to be even stronger. Some people will take it out 10 degrees. I don't know. That's getting a little bit too wide for me, I think. And then, of course, the other fixed signs of Leo and Aquarius, if you have degrees there, that this will be squaring those degrees. So look to your own chart, see where this falls, see what's close to it. You're looking for degrees anywhere from, anything at 13 degrees. Do you have anything at 13 degrees? But if you go back 3 degrees, that's going to be around 10 degrees to about 16 degrees. If you go back 5 degrees, that's going to be 8 degrees till about 18 degrees. So look for those numbers in your charts. They could be also angles, especially the important angle, the ascendant, descendant, IC, or midheaven. So that could be affecting you as well, those points. So remember, astrology really is math, and understanding the math and the geometry really behind it is how we can come to understand the astrology and reference it and even make predictions. So Venus is here in Libra and imparting this very Venusian aesthetic beauty to this moon. But then shortly after, though, she does move into Scorpio. And she's not strong in Scorpio. Venus is considered in detriment in Scorpio. So shortly after the moon, she moves into Scorpio. So she's not performing or functioning at her best. But the energy of this lunation carries that initial imprint of Venus being in Libra and offering her best Venusian qualities of also harmony and peace and negotiation. Those are all things that a Venus in Libra brings. The thing about Venus in this chart, though, is that she is in a T-square with Jupiter and Pluto. So again, this is powerful opportunity for transformation, for, making something really big, really emphasizing it so you can really see it and then deal with it for our greater good, for our greater transformation, greater harmony, greater self-possession, that's Taurus, greater self-worth. And also some of the things that we might see on the world stage is just more illumination being brought to the financial access. But okay, so I also want to remind everybody again that this is not just one date. You can't just pinpoint it. Yes, there's an exact time of the lunation cycle, but these are all like just waves of energy that come in, right? So we know that this has already been in motion before the full moon, and it will continue to be in motion after it is done, after the full moon is done. And one thing that we are seeing is the disparity of financial situations around the world. And we're seeing some people living very opulently and even excessively, while other people struggle to make ends meet, to buy food. Look at everything that's happening in the States. So we can see this all over the world, not just in one area or one place. There are areas perhaps that are more extreme than others, certainly, but it is bringing this to our heightened awareness. Like, look at this full moon and this heightened awareness of the haves and the have-nots. And that is Taurus's key phrase is I have. Taurus is about possession. Again, self-possession, but also our own possessions and what we own. It is naturally the second house in a natural or flat chart, and it rules over, again, our values, what we take comfort in, what we ingest, and what we possess. I always find astrology so interesting and so sometimes astonishing how it can show us things that are happening just through a set of symbols. This Mars here that rules the Scorpio sun is sextiling, is applying to a sextile to Pluto. So that's, and again, it's coming into a conjunction here with Mercury. So again, like using your words really wisely, because there's a power here of transformation. Remember, Pluto is the modern day ruler of the sun here. So these planets here in communication just want your evolution of your spirit, evolution of your soul, using your words really wisely, using this lunation, this very patient, steadfast, builder, Taurus moon, the one that wants to build everlasting in our lives, everlasting structures, everlasting relationships, right? And building in that harmony. So just use it to your advantage to really transform your words, your language. It's all informing this sun here that is illuminating the moon. And of course, we can't forget that Pluto and Uranus are also aspecting, although Uranus is in retrograde and will shortly move back into Taurus. Now, next week, so the full moon is on Wednesday the 5th, and by Sunday, November 9th, Mercury is in retrograde. So it does come into a conjunction here a couple days after the full moon with Mercury, and then it moves in retrograde and it will go all the way back into Scorpio. Another thing too, that there's some karmic ties here with the moon, because it is trining the south node and sextiling the north node. Granted, it is not exact. It's a 3-degree orb, but that's very close. That's very close, especially for the moon. So it's bringing up issues from your past, right? The South Node is all about the past. It pulls us into the past, asks us to reevaluate things and to release and surrender what no longer works for us. Whereas the North Node wants to bring us into the future, into our more evolved state, into our more evolved lives. And another thing about this chart that I can see too is Chiron and Eris are in a conjunction at 24 degrees. So Chiron is about about healing our wounds, and Eris is the disruptor. Like she's a disruptor, just like Uranus. I think that Eris was the considered the sister to Mars, and Mars is making an in conjunction here. It's kind of a little bit wide, but there is still kind of this aspect forming. So there's information here being communicated between the two of them. Now, so Eris too caused disruption in order to bring fairness and justice to everyone. And there is also an aspect of being, being disowned or discarded, like she was shunned. And so there's something here for us to look at with healing the wounded parts of ourselves that aren't accepted by others, or like ostracization comes to mind, being outcast, not being accepted. And this is an archetype here of Uranus as well, which is in this flowing harmonious aspect here to Pluto, and it's in retrograde. So this is about reevaluating where we're at, right? And then it will go back into and reevaluating these wounded parts of ourselves in order to transform for the higher part of ourselves to shine through. So Jupiter's here in Cancer, and it's trining to Neptune that has retrograded back into Aries. And then soon the sun is going to come into a trine with these planets as well. And there will be a grand water trine that will happen towards the end of the month when the sun is at, let me see, around November 17th, 18th, the sun will come into a trine with Jupiter at 25 degrees. And then towards the end of the month, around the 22nd of the month of November, Jupiter will be trining the sun at 29 degrees will come into a trine with Neptune, and then will still be trining Jupiter. So this is such benevolent energy. It's very harmonious. It's very flowing. It's good for all the water signs, Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces, wherever those are in your chart. This is really illuminating or magnifying something for you, the bringing in the light of the sun, the consciousness of the sun, the expansion and benevolence of Jupiter, and then just the oceanic heights, like the spiritual depth and heights of Neptune being brought to something. And also Saturn is there too, right? Saturn is in this trine as well. So it's about concretizing something, bringing something from that etheric spiritual realm into form. And then remember, by February 20th of 2026, Neptune and Saturn will be conjunct, and that will be in your Piscean house, wherever that is. All right, so if you have been on my channel before, you know that I love to read from Elias Lonsdale's book called Inside Degrees about the Chandra symbols. And if you haven't, well, every symbol pertains to many things. There are many correspondences. There's Sabian symbols, there's correspondences to the tarot, and there's something called the Chandra symbols, which came from the original Sabian symbols. Now, we have 13 degrees and 22 minutes of Taurus. We round up to 14 degrees, and that is an old lady selling bunches of violets on a street corner, caught inside a strange predicament. You no longer belong to worlds you always dreamed into before, and you have only a light connection with the worlds calling you forward from here. Caught in a time warp, being neither this nor that, it is a stark and merciless dilemma. Your heart is divided between memories and visions, sentiment and knowledge. Inside this quandary, something else is going on. You are distracted from all solid allegiances in order to overhaul your way of being, even while remaining stubbornly adamant and resistant. You get around your own paranoid system by subtle and subliminal means, eroding the ego base and bringing yourself through a humiliating stage. Make yourself ready for deeper challenges ahead by stripping away your self-importance. You who have leaned back hard on self-importance for your very identity and who now must let go despite not wanting to at all. And this brings to mind something that is very Taurian, is fixicity, right? Fixation. So what this brings to mind is the fixicity of Taurus and Scorpio. They're fixed signs. It's harder for them to switch gears. It's harder for them to change things up. And it's harder for them to let go, especially when they don't want to. That last line is just really brings to light this axis and how it is really important to let go at the right time. And by allowing ourselves to change, allowing ourselves to be more flexible, allowing ourselves to not get caught in dilemmas, and to make the necessary changes, not be so resistant. So now that said, I'm going to move into the all signs reading. So again, the lunation represents significant culmination points, and they will emphasize themes for us of our financial stability, bringing our own personal values, self-worth, comfort, our own material comfort. And let's get to your sign. Remember to watch for your sun, your moon, and your rising. Your rising is going to be more accurate in terms of the day-to-day, what is actually happening in your life. The moon reflects your emotions and your body as well, and it's your more internal emotional realm. And the sun is more about the external and particularly our goals. All right, we're going to start with Taurus. Taurus rising. This illumination is right here in your first house. Your first house deals all with your identity, your body, your physicality, how you present yourself to the world, your health. This has a lot to do with your health. And the moon has a lot to do with your body, can represent your health, fluctuation in health. So it could be a time to focus more on your own personal goals, on health-related goals, anything to do with you. You're the focus of this full moon. So it could be a culmination too of coming into your own personal release, identifying things around what you value, what's important to you, what's shifting and changing. It could be about transforming your own health habits, perhaps beauty habits, appearance, things about appearance. And it's about the axis here for you is yourself and others. So the sun is here in the 7th house. So this could relate to others, your relationship. It could be bringing things about your relationship into your awareness. It could be a pivotal point for you in this relationship. It could be, for some of you, ending relationships because the culmination of the moon might bring that. Remember that there is the Mars here, which is in your 8th house, and that's other people's resources as well, and the communication with other people and around their resources. And it's opposing Uranus in your 2nd house. So that axis for you it's the natural axis of Taurus opposing Scorpio. So it's kind of highlighted twice for you through the full moon here, but then through the 2nd and 8th house as well. So bringing awareness to relationships, your own internal resources, the resources of others. That's what I see for you, okay, in this lunation. Thank you for watching, Taurus. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Gemini Rising, the lunation is happening on the axis of your 12th and your 6th house, with this full moon being illuminated here in your 12th house. Your 12th house is a very subconscious house that relates to a lot to do with our spirituality. So there could be a lot of emphasis placed on, because this is a house of isolation too, you might need to retract from the world for a bit just to do some own internal investigation and healing of self. It could involve, for some people, like illumination of dreams. This is the dream house. It could be about even illumination and desires around around travel, because this is a house that deals with foreign lands, foreign travels. Could be about spirit communication, perhaps again through your dreams. just the subconscious is really being highlighted and bringing to the fore the issues, any underlying issues, anything that is really subconscious, things that are behind the scenes, right? Now, Mars Uranus for you is, because you've got Uranus here in your first house, and that's such a drastic and could be upheaval change for you over the next few years. It is retrograding back into your 12th house here, but the opposition is here with Mars in your 7th house coming into a conjunction with Mercury in your 7th. So this is all about the other axis, and the axis of the personal self and your own identity. So again, flare-ups and maybe mishaps in communication. You're going to want to watch your communication. You know, the worst thing that could happen is saying the wrong thing at the wrong time and igniting tempers and ending relationships for no reason, or volatility in relationship. And that's kind of what can happen here with this energy here in your 1st and your 7th house of yourself and other. But the sun is here again, opposing the 12th house. So the sun is your 6th house, and that's about your health and your daily habits. So something to watch for there as well. Okay, Gemini Rising, please subscribe, hit like, and leave me a comment, and I will see you on the next video. Now, Cancer Rising, the lunation is happening on the axis of the 11th and the 5th house for you. The 11th is all about your connections, your greater connections with groups and community networks, your networking ability. So it's bringing something to highlight here for you, something culminating here for you in this area of your life. So it could be changes in your own communities, culmination of something that you seeded back 6 months ago, or in the lunation in April, having to do with your friends, your social networks, and perhaps embracing some type of growth. And perhaps it could be even releasing some friends or growing out of certain social structures that you've been in. Now, the sun is here in your 5th house, so that is also illuminating your 5th house of your own creativity. So your own creativity, and maybe with children, illuminating children. And the Mars Uranus is happening for you in your 6th house and your 12th house. So for you, it's very, this Uranus in your 12th could be a very subconscious thing. It could be affecting your sleep. Uranus in your 12th could really affect your sleep patterns. And with Mars here in your 6th, Mars tends to be very inflammatory, and it's your 6th house of your daily habits and your health habits and your health. So do watch that you're taking care of your health, and something unexpected with your health doesn't happen. Okay, Cancer, please hit like and subscribe, and thank you for being here, and I will see you on the next video. Okay, Leo ascendant. The full moon is happening in your 10th house, with the moon opposing it in your 4th. So the 10th and the 4th, this axis is all about your public reputation up here, your career, your status, how you're seen and viewed in the world, opposing your 4th house of home, of security, of your stability. So this could be about your professional career, your public recognition. You might not have a career, but how you're recognized or seen in the public. Something really being illuminated here, coming to a culmination, a very peak experience for you, being recognized perhaps for some work, some type of public announcement perhaps. So this is where the full moon is, but the sun is here in your 4th, so there's always a tug, there's a pull between the moon and the sun when it comes to a full moon. And so perhaps you're being, there's energy that's needed at home, or being distracted from home, and also needing to be in the public view here up in this 10th house of yours. The opposition with Mars and Uranus happens in your 11th house here, with Uranus in your 11th and Mars here in your 5th. Now, the 11th and the 5th have to deal with your own personal creativity, perhaps romance or adventure, or taking risk is here. Children are here. And the 11th is your networks. It is your higher house of money, but it's your networks and your socializing. So, and again, Mercury is here. So just be careful with words, be patient. Perhaps don't say everything that comes to your mind. It could be very volatile and sudden and abrasive, this meeting here between Uranus and Mars, especially with Mercury in the mix again, just, take in that patience of Taurus and perhaps don't allow yourself to say everything that comes to your mind, because that might affect some friendships, some networks, some perhaps hurt feelings with children. All right, Leo, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Okay, Virgo Rising. This lunation is happening on the axis of your ninth and third house, which deals with the ninth house is about your faith, your beliefs, your spirituality. It's about foreigners, foreign travel. And the third house is about your mind, and communication. It can relate to siblings, short distance trips, your vehicle. So something happening here for you that's coming into culmination and peak experience up here in your ninth house. Again, of that, it could be shifts in your philosophy or your worldview expanding with the sun being here in your third house, illuminating for you communication or perhaps things with your immediate environment, your neighborhood. That could happen. And it could really deal with perhaps needing to change some beliefs and not being too rigid or fixed on certain beliefs in a certain point of view, a certain religion, a certain philosophy, a certain viewpoint, and really letting yourself be more flexible. Remember, the Taurus is a fixed sign, but Taurus and Scorpio both, but needing to relax and let go. And oftentimes full moons they're going to release right after this, right? So it's needing to release and surrender, needing to let go of something. And it could be about not being too rigid and fixed with your own personal viewpoint. The Mars-Uranus opposition is happening with your 4th and your 10th house, and that for you is all about your public image and your home life. So again, I will reiterate, just watch your words, make sure to really think about taking in that Taurian patience and steadfastness and not reacting so volatile, like not saying everything you think, because that could affect stability here in your 4th house, your grounding, and something to do with your public image, some sudden change, and not necessarily being prepared for it because it's fast, it's quick, Uranus, right? It's very unexpected. It blindsides us, and this Mars can be very rash, impetuous, sudden, like just speaking and perhaps saying the wrong thing, putting your foot in your mouth. All right, that's what I see, Virgo Rising. So thank you for watching. Make sure to hit like and subscribe, and please leave me a comment, and I will see you on the next video. Libra Rising. The lunation is happening on the axis of your 8th and your 2nd house. So the sun is here in your 2nd house of Scorpio, with the moon opposing the moon here in your 8th house of Taurus. So this for you is all about the axis of resources. It is about your resources here in the 8th house, your resources here in the 2nd house, and other people's resources here in the 8th. It's really illuminating. And perhaps something is coming to an end. Something is being shown that may not be working for the best, or it could be working brilliantly, but sometimes full moons do indicate a lot of times they indicate endings to things. And it could be something that you started back in the lunation in April. Go to the beginning of the video and listen to the general overview. So that's what it's illuminating here, the 8th house, about your shared resources, your intimacy. It could be about closure around some type of resource that you share with somebody else. It could be about intimacy. It could be about sexual intimacy with another. Perhaps that kind of relationship is coming to an end. And it looks like to releasing deeply seated fears. That's a lot to do with this 8th house. The opposition of Mars and Uranus for you happens here in your 3rd house and your 9th house. So your 3rd and your 9th is, so again, the 3rd, Mars being in the 3rd, coming into conjunction with Mercury in your 3rd. Maybe some of you might have some conflict come up with siblings. That's Mercury. It could be friends. That's Mercury as well. But communication in general, and this is the communication house. So just really watching your words, being very patient with your words, rethinking before speaking, because Uranus opposes it, and Uranus is very sudden and things can change very sudden. And this is your house of beliefs and your worldview and your faith. So perhaps some type of sudden change in your worldview and your own faith and belief system. So again, keep that in mind as you go about this lunation. And remember, this lunation doesn't just last for the one day. It will cycle out into the days that follow, weeks, perhaps even up to a month to the next lunation. All right, Libra, thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Scorpio Rising. This lunation is happening in your first and seventh house axis, with the full moon being shone here in your seventh house, which is all about the other relationships. Anybody really. It could be if you have an audience, it could be your audience, it could be your marketplace, it could be your clients, your customers, it could be your partner, it could be a marriage partner, a long-term partner, it could be business partners, it could be business contracts. So illumination here in the seventh house, something really being magnified, something really being shown to you, and something culminating here in the seventh house. So again, something in this house might be coming to an end. It could just be showing something to you that's not working, that needs to end, but it could be one of these relationships that I just listed coming to an end. Now you're going to want to watch. Again, this is your financial house. Here is where Mars and Mercury are coming into conjunction, and that's where Mars is opposing Uranus. So something here needing to be less impulsive, watching your spending around an action around your spending, because there could be a sudden change here with Uranus in your eighth house of shared resources. So this could be resources through a partner, or through an investment, or some type of income that is not earned here by you in this second house. And you just want to make sure that it's, that you're making sure that you're not doing anything too impulsive that might lead to that, because that's this energy here, Uranus, just suddenly ending things here at this time of the lunation. All right, Scorpio, thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Okay, Sagittarius. This lunation is happening on the axis of your 12th and your 6th house here, with the lunation being in your 6th house. And your 6th house is all about your daily habits, your health habits. It could involve your pets, small pets, and something in this house coming to an end. So perhaps changing of a routine around your health and around your daily habits that lead to your better health. So it could be also shifts in your work, because this is your work house too, shifts with your employees or your co-workers, and just your daily schedule. Now, something is being also focused in your 12th house of your subconscious, and maybe illumination of dreams. So pay attention to your dream time. That's going to be important for you. And pay attention to your health and your habits. It's time now to step it up and to make sure that you're taking really good care of yourself. The opposition of Mars and Uranus happens in your first house here and your 7th. So this really doubles down on you really taking good care of your health, because this is your first house of your physical body. So making sure, and then your 7th house here, like Uranus is here now, but it will move into your 6th house, adding even more emphasis to making sure to stay to a consistent routine. That might be hard with Uranus in that house, but so just doing your best to stay in a consistent routine. And just really, acting very like stability and consistency with your health is coming through here for me when I see this. Okay, Sagittarius, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next video. Capricorn Rising, the full moon is happening here in your 5th house, on the axis of your 5th house and your 11th house, your 5th and your 11th. Your 5th is all about your creativity. It could involve your children. It has to do with romance, taking risk, speculation, adventure, fun. And your 11th house is your house of networking, your house of friendships and collaborations and connections, networks. And the full moon is being illuminated here in your 5th house. So maybe something to do with your children, or coming to full peak and ending, like maybe for some of you, like a phase to a relationship with a child is ending, but that could be also a relationship with a romantic partner, or some type of speculation that you've done could be ending, and or some type of creative project, but energy being focused here too, right in your 11th house. So ending here, but maybe over here there's more energy being spent with networks, with groups of people, and with your greater community that way, and perhaps collaboration in that way, not so much on your own individual creativity, but collaboration with a greater community. The opposition of Mars to Uranus happens here in your 6th and your 12th house. So your 12th house is your subconscious. It has to do with foreign lands and foreign travels, foreign investments. And your 6th is your daily house of health and habits and work and routines. So there could be a sudden shift for you, and it might be a bit volatile with that access. So again, just, watch your thoughts, watch your communication. Again, I just have to emphasize to bring the energy of the very stable, grounded, patient, and calm full moon of Taurus into all of your relations and all of your daily habits here, and even in your own subconscious. Like, watch your thoughts here with this 12th house and this Mars coming into contact with Mercury and opposing Uranus here. Okay, Capricorn, thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Pisces Rising. This lunation is happening on the axis of your 3rd and your 9th house. So your 3rd house deals with your own style of communication, your thought process, how you learn. It deals with your immediate environment. It can deal with siblings and extended family, like your aunties and uncles. It can deal with short distance trips. And that's all being illuminated here. Well, this doesn't necessarily mean all of that for everybody, but any of those things could be illuminated here. And some of those things coming to an end. So like for some of you, you might move. You might move, change neighborhoods. Some of you might be ending certain styles of communication, and some of you there might be focus on communication for some of you, and learning how to communicate differently, different style of communication. For some of you, it could be, communicating with how you communicate with your siblings or your extended family, or thought processes, even your thought process, but something being highlighted here for you nonetheless. And the focus of the sun is here in your higher house of faith and beliefs and foreign travel and foreigners. Now, remember that in the beginning, I talked about Taurus and Scorpio both being fixed signs, and to be open to, like, this is speaking to me about being open to new forms of communication, being open to moving for some of you, being open to new relationships coming into your life, being open to changing how you think perhaps about yourself or your environment, or all these forms of communication that could happen. So just being less fixed and just able and not so resistant to the change that often Taurus has, because it's a fixed earth sign. The opposition of Mars is happening here in your 10th house to your 4th house. This is all about your public reputation, how you're seen, and your home. So something sudden could happen here and shift suddenly. And it might be dramatic. It might involve conflict. That's Mars, right? So again, with Mercury here with Mars, like, this is an added emphasis for you, because this moon is in your 3rd house of communication, and Mars coming into contact with Mercury, especially opposing Uranus. You want to really think about the words you're going to speak, and even the thoughts that we put out into the world. It's important to keep our, even to keep our thoughts in check. Like, thinking, a lot of thoughts are not even our own. They're just garbage that lives there. And we have to keep, checking in to see if they're valid, to see if they're appropriate, to see if they really serve us, if they're serving our growth and our highest good. And for you, it's here in your 10th house of public reputation. So that's going to be really important for you to really remain calm and grounded and secure, like in your communication style. That's Taurian, right? Taurus is calm. and grounded. And that's what you want to take from this full moon, as not to harm anything in terms of how you're seen in your public image. Okay, Pisces, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Aries Rising. This lunation is happening on the axis of your second and eighth house. Because it's Taurus and Scorpio, and this is the natural chart for you, it really, really emphasizes your resources here in your second house and the other's resources here, and intimacy, right? Here in the eighth. Now, so if that means something in your second house, because it's the full moon, it's being illuminated, it's coming to culmination, it's coming to its fruition, and it's being released. So something for you might be really being highlighted here about how you make money, the way that you make money, the way you resource yourself, your possessions, your value system, and something shifting here. It could be something ending or just a shift in your attitude towards your self-perception of your value system, how you value yourself, how you make your money. And then it's being highlighted here as your eighth house of other people's resources. So it could be about resolving debts. It could be and reevaluating any of your loans or debts, taxes, those kinds of things are in this house. It's about, the culmination here is about money and your value system. So looking at that, this is an ideal time to look at that and see where you're at with all of that. The opposition of Mars and Uranus is here in your ninth and your third house. And again, Mars and Uranus could be very sudden, chaotic, and conflict orientated. And it is your third house of communication and immediate environment, your neighborhood. It could be your siblings as well. It could involve your siblings or family, extended family. And when I look at Mars coming up close to Mercury, I just do think about communication. So this is a double down for you as well with this. So really watching your thoughts, watching your communication process, watching the words that you speak, thinking carefully about what you are going to say and to whom. This is going to be important for you to really embody this calm, grounded energy of Taurus and not speak out of turn and not speak everything that we're thinking. That's not going to be helpful to you because this could shift something suddenly for you in a relationship. But also what could shift for you is your belief system here in your ninth house, right? Your worldview, your faith, your spirituality. So it could be lots of change there for you, all right? Okay, Aries, thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you on the next video. Well, my beloved souls, thank you for being here on this video with me. I really appreciate that you're here with me on this video, and I hope that you all stay blessed during these very tumultuous times that we're in, these very fast-paced and changing times. Remember, everything is really going to be okay, and wherever you are, I am sending you lots of love. Stay blessed, beloved souls, and I will see you on the next video.